Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. We are playing a game for here today versus Barcast TV and Contra. And on the map, as we zoom in on here, Citralata. I don't quite know how to pronounce that one. Citralata, I'm going to say. Now, Barcast sent over this one to me, said it was a very good game, so I'm expecting a lot from you, Mr. Barcast TV. For those that aren't aware, Barcast TV down here in the bottom right in blue, starting off with an air factory, is Cortex. Has his own YouTube channel where he does casts, but just like myself, he doesn't tend to cast his own games, so I cast them for him. Now, Barcast is definitely moving up in the ranks at the moment. I don't know his exact ranking right now, but last time I checked, he was definitely in the top 30 players of Bar. So, definitely one to watch. And then, on the opposite side of the map, we have Contra, who is playing Armada today. We've seen Contra quite a few times on the channel by now, and good to see them again. Going bots this time with a large amount of ticks already out. Now, question is, the Barcast, who is not rushing out this bomber, bear in mind, will he be able to get it done? Oh, there we go. Now forces it out. Will this bomber be able to actually have much of an impact, or is this just going to massively set him behind? So the bomber is moving out. We'll quickly discuss the map a bit after this bombing run, just because we need to kind of see what happens here. Don't want to miss out. Contra has seen an aircraft and is rushing to build an AA gun, which gets done just in time here. So does an AA bot actually get built. Bombs do land, taking out all of Contra's air, leaving just a single windmill remaining. He's going to set him back a little bit here, especially with the construction here of the construction turret so early in the match. It's using quite a lot of energy there, so not good for Contra in this early stage. Barcast, though, not really making too much use of this time. He is starting to reclaim the air lab right now, but ticks roaming the countryside freely right now with no real worry at all. So this map, let's quickly discuss it while we wait for both players to get going. You can see the map is broken up into 4 segments here. Oh, this is a terrible drawing because it shouldn't be more like that. As this is kind of more like a 4-team free-for-all map. As you can see, there's supposed to be a 3v, 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 3. Well, that's way too many threes. But yeah, you get the idea. The one defining feature to be aware of here is this starting metal point in the middle. Well, it's not starting. This metal point in the middle is a 5 metal point. So this is double, basically, any of the metal points on the map. That's quite key. Tick's trying to probe here from Contra to try and find some room. Unfortunately, no space there. Barcast is now making good use of that aircraft plant. Oh. Looks like Contra is going to get a metal extractor here. Excuse me. I sneezed whilst doing that there. So he does manage to get the metal extractor, but not really too much, considering he's got the constructors there anyway. Not really a big deal. But as I was saying, Barcast using great use of that air lab here by building a air transport. Now this is going to help get that commander build power moved very quickly. and help him spread out across the map. Now, what do we expect to see in this map? Well, mostly a contention through the middle here. This is the quickest part to your opponent. However, I have seen a couple of other games on this map, and there's just so much metal on the sides here, you can't really ignore it. But what does normally happen is that you get players more fighting over the sides first. Once those sides have been kind of like taken, all the effort is then focused on the middle, and then after that there's either a push for the base, or you know, people just hold down the middle and then only use the sides. So it's a very fluid map with so many avenues that you can go around. I mean, obviously you've got naval here, so in theory you could bring up amphibious tanks or something from the rear that someone might not expect, especially on, you know, this map where everyone's very heavily focused on what's going on in front. Unfortunately, Contra manages to take that air constructor down. Now, I was about to say that there are 2 metal points on these little islands to the north, south, left, and right that basically are never going to get capped, just due to the fact that you're going to need an air engineer to get there. Barcast does have one, but still, it's additional metal point that, you know, you're not normally going to get. Barcast maybe looking to move his comm there to defend. And that was the intention, but Barcast having to move his comm to defend. Oh, but picks it up. That's potentially risky. Bear in mind, for those that aren't aware here, if your comm, your comm is in an air transport and the air transport goes boom, your comm goes boom with it. So there is a significant risk factor here. Barcast moving his comm around in that air transport. Now, if we select Barcast, there's no decent radar here, and if Contra had gone air and sent a couple of fighters, or even just this one anti-air bot, that could make Barcast's game very short. So, dangerous. Contra just gets a D-gun off there to secure his flanks, but yeah, you're seeing an Armada versus Cortex battle here. You don't see them very often these days. Sorry if you get abnormally large breaks in talking from me today. Not particularly a little bit under the weather, so my throat's a bit rapsy. Contra would have a good attack here, keeping away from the large force of grunts while still doing significant damage. On the bottom, a little bit of a probing force here, not really intended to actually do much, but does get past off all of Barcast defenses, and these two constructors now walking out on their own, about to get ambushed by those grunts that he let through. Pawns, sorry, that he let through. Luckily, had some grunts there to save the day, and the constructors do survive. Contra Commander in a difficult position right now. Oh, that's gonna die. Attack and force here does get significant damage. Expansion, a lot of expansion opportunities there gone. Barcast trying to heavily contest the middle here. He wants that 5 times metal point. Contra being all the way over here is limiting him with what he can do to actually, like, contest Barcast in the middle. Like, he's trying with his grunts as much as he can, pawns, sorry, to kind of contest in every location he can. And if we actually look at the build power right now, Contra has miles more build power. But everything else is fairly even. Metal per second, he's, you know, 10 metal ahead, Contra is. Which obviously will add up. But still, it's not too much. Army value is fairly even-ish at this time. I want to look at this, but at the same time, I'm a bit cautious of what Contra's commander is doing on the south. Running into a double construction. Okay. So the constructors get mopped up there. That's kind of lucky that the laser towers didn't both focus the commander there. They were starting to shoot the pawns first. Now, if they wouldn't have done that and both focused on the commander, that could have been dangerous for Contra. Barcast trying to contain Contra in the north there, but he just does not have anywhere near enough units. And the same in the middle. He's trying to apply pressure to the middle here to force Contra's hand, but Contra is pumping out so many units here. The swarm is growing in size on a regular basis, and he is not able to get any of the wreckage that's left on the field here. The Pounders, great call here. The only issue is they're so slow that getting them to the front line is going to prove an issue for Barcast. That single flame turret also doing an amazing job. I would argue that Barcast is idling a little bit here. He's got some... they are doing stuff. Okay, I was going to say that he's got engineers doing nothing, but no, they are. They are. This one over here is not really doing anything. It gets some reclaim. But the swarm is coming in. Pounders don't have a very good reload time. And Barcast is about to get swarmed. Barcast ends up degunning his own factory in an effort to try and take out as many enemies as he can, which does work out for him, and he is still in control of the middle here. A single resbot ready to reclaim anything that's left over. The question is Barcast still going to be able to hold this against the sheer mass of units coming towards him? Army value is still on Barcast's side here. Contra being very smart at splitting up the two forces here. Forcing Barcast to send units both ways to try and defend. Or he's going to just, you know, give up on any of this expansion that he's got. And that does look like what's going to happen. He's desperately trying to build extra laser towers, but it's not really going to matter. We see a smart degun of a laser tower. Oh, surprisingly, it holds. Wow, I wasn't expecting all that to hold. Barcast's forces are getting spread very thin here. The swarm of ticks are upon us. Don't know exactly what Contra's planning here, but for the swarm. So Contra is in roleplay mode then, by the sounds of it, and is wanting to block out the sun with his ticks. Ticks and pawns. Which, to be fair, is not doing a bad job. Except against Pounders. But, interestingly enough, when we look at the map here, we see how close Contra is to Barcast's base. He's right next to it. Large amount of defenses just set up right outside of Barcast's base, and Barcast is doing nothing to stop it. If this force gets through here, this could inflict a fair amount of damage. Barcast bringing his commander back desperately, trying to stop this. A big energy hit here as he loses several windmills. Meanwhile, he's losing expansion in other locations. Contra ahead on economy right now. Barcast desperately just trying to hold on to the middle. Quickly zooming over to the base, we can see some very stacked up factories here as the swarm of stouts coming out at record speed. Just shows how much metal there is on this map, and Barcast finally clearing up that room. But look at the swarm of ticks coming in here. And they will take some attrition from the LLTs here. Oh, unfortunately, the LLT blowing up causes all of the ticks to explode. And some bad micro choices here from Contra is unfortunately causing him a lot more attrition on his units than he was probably expecting. But the transition to swarm into stouts here might prove difficult for Barcast to cope with, as he himself doesn't have too much in the way of full tanks. He has got some, but nowhere near enough at this stage in the game. Across the entire map, he has 15, as opposed to Contra's 26. And this final little expansion here does go down, opening the back door of Barcast base to another raid. And unfortunately, it's just pressure after pressure being applied to Barcast here, and he is not really able to do anything the same to Contra. Slowly taking out some of his expansion, but still not really enough. And here come the pawns. D-gun misses. He does have a lot of wind that gets destroyed there, but laser towers in his base managed to cover it. Potential another issue here though, as that's just not pawns, that is stouts, and the only thing coming out right now from the factory is missile trucks, which is just not going to cut it. Oh dear. Barcast, do not give up. Oh, great D-guns there through the middle of his base, and manages to take out a massive chunk of those stouts with a single D-gun there, taking out at least 2 or 3 with a single D-gun, and that manages to force a return for Contra. Now, as you can see here, all expansions being destroyed everywhere. Great pressure now being applied by Barcast on the north, but at the same time, equal amount of pressure being applied to Barcast from Contra here, as another wave of stouts make their way towards Barcast base. Barcast needs to move his commander. His attention elsewhere, hasn't realised yet. Barcast now desperately trying to run stuff back, but this is a lot of damage to be taken to your base. Barcast now with basically no energy as he loses all of his winds. Huge amount of damage done. You can see the laser towers not quite having enough energy to even fire. Barcast queuing up energy now for a D-gun. It doesn't have it yet. This is dangerous for Barcast. 50% health, 40% health. D-gun goes off, manages to get a lot of them, but Barcast down to 16% health. That was almost the end for Barcast's story today. Meanwhile, Contra's base completely unharmed. Geothermal has been built that will help him with any energy worries, and Contra's just slowly re-expanding. The siege of Contra's base has gotten broken. Sheer amount of stouts that were pushed out there, as we can see from the wreckage, managing to resolve the issue there. But no player really looks to have a game-ending play to hand yet. Oh, the vehicle factories were replaced with bombers. Contra amassing a very large quantity of bombers here. to be fair, Barcast has like no energy as it is, so hitting his energy even more will basically stall him massively out of the game at that point. So Contra with no air defenses really whatsoever, and all of his units miles away from base. And here they come, the 9 bombers. Barcast forces directly outside of Contra's base here, now starting to get peppered by the gunships. Barcast decides to fall back through his defenses, but he really needs to be thinking, like, what can I do here? I need to be breaking Contra's base. I need to be able to push in, but everything he does is not really making that much of a dent. He must be thinking he needs air because he started. But here come the bombers. Massive amount of wind damage being done there. Barcast desperately rushing to build more air defenses. Unfortunately, quite a lot of the wind was already destroyed, leaving not much left to actually bomb in this sort of an attack. But, yeah, a lot of the air that was left, wind that was left, has been destroyed. He actually also lost the 2 metal points in his base, which is a big impact. And there's also 2 stouts going around the bottom there, which may just strike the nail in the coffin for Barcast, as he has nothing left. The economy is in the gutter. And he's desperately trying to use his commander there to save the day, but Cloaks absorbed all of his energy. The 1 stout gets degunned, and the laser towers actually managed to take out the rest, but Barcast just massing as many forces as he can in the middle, but we now have Tech 2 out from Contra. Is this the beginning of the end for Barcast? He now would have received the notification saying Tech 2 unit spotted. And does it look like he's going in for it? He might just be going in. Bombers in air on their way back in. Missile trucks there to kind of fend off the gunships. He is. Barcast is just going, screw it. Let's go. He knows that there'll be a gap in unit production when the T2 factory is getting built, and knows that he has the unit advantage right now and is pushing for that win. And Contra calls a GG as his base was about to get completely annihilated. Very well played, both players there. It was anyone's game up until the Tech 2 transition there. Well played, everyone, and thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.